Imagine a world where using Linux no longer feels like stepping into a complicated, developer-only environment, where you don't need to memorize commands, worry about breaking your system, or spend hours figuring out why something doesn't work. For decades, Linux has been incredibly powerful, flexible, and free, but at the same time, it has had a reputation that kept beginners away. People often believed it was only for programmers, hackers, or tech enthusiasts. But something has changed, and it's not a small update or a minor improvement. It's a shift that fundamentally transforms how Linux feels, how it works, and who it is for. This change is making Linux accessible in a way we haven't seen before, and it's opening the doors for complete beginners to finally step in without fear. If you've ever been curious about Linux but felt intimidated, you're not alone. Most people coming from Windows or macOS are used to polished interfaces, predictable behavior, and software that just works. Linux, historically, required a bit of patience and a willingness to learn. You had to understand package managers, deal with terminal commands, and sometimes troubleshoot issues manually. But now, we're entering an era where those barriers are being removed one by one, and the experience is becoming smoother, more intuitive, and surprisingly enjoyable. What's really happening is a combination of several innovations coming together at the right time. It's not just one tool or one distribution that changed everything. It's an entire ecosystem evolving. One of the biggest shifts is the rise of beginner-friendly distributions that are designed from the ground up with simplicity in mind. These systems no longer expect you to adapt to them. Instead, they adapt to you. The installation process is easier than ever, often guided by clean graphical interfaces that walk you through every step. You don't need to partition drives manually unless you want to. You don't need to worry about complex configurations. In many cases, you just click install, wait a few minutes, and you're ready to go. But the real transformation begins after installation. Once you boot into your system, you're greeted with a familiar desktop environment that feels modern and polished. Whether it resembles Windows, macOS, or something entirely new, the focus is on usability. Menus are intuitive, settings are easy to navigate, and common tasks are straightforward. You don't need to open a terminal to change your wallpaper, connect to Wi-Fi, or install apps. Everything is accessible through graphical tools that are designed to be self-explanatory. And speaking of installing apps, this is another area where Linux has seen a massive improvement. In the past, installing software could be confusing for beginners. You had to know which package manager your distribution used, search for the right repository, and sometimes deal with dependencies manually. Now, with the introduction of universal package formats like Flatpak and Snap, things have changed dramatically. These systems allow you to install applications in a way that's consistent across different distributions. You open an app store, search for what you need, click install, and it just works. It feels very similar to installing apps on a smartphone or a modern operating system. This shift also means that more developers are making their software available on Linux. Popular applications that were once missing are now easily accessible. Whether it's web browsers, media players, productivity tools, or even creative software, the gap between Linux and other operating systems is shrinking. For many users, the available options are more than enough for daily use. Another important change is the focus on stability and reliability. One of the fears beginners often have is breaking their system. They worry that a wrong click or a bad command could cause serious issues. Modern Linux distributions address this by providing safer environments and better system management tools. Updates are more reliable, and in some cases, systems can even roll back changes if something goes wrong. This adds a layer of confidence that makes beginners feel more comfortable experimenting and learning. Hardware compatibility has also improved significantly. There was a time when getting Linux to work on certain laptops or desktops required extra effort. You might have needed to install drivers manually or deal with unsupported hardware. Today, many distributions come with excellent hardware detection out of the box. Wi-Fi, Bluetooth, graphics, and other components are often recognized automatically. This means you can install Linux and start using it immediately without spending hours troubleshooting. One of the most exciting developments is the integration of new technologies that simplify complex tasks. For example, containerization allows applications to run in isolated environments, reducing conflicts and improving security. This might sound technical, but the beauty of it is that users don't need to understand the details. They just benefit from a smoother experience. Apps are less likely to break, updates are safer, and the system remains stable over time. The role of community has always been a strength of Linux, and it continues to play a huge part in this transformation. However, the way support is delivered has improved. Documentation is clearer, tutorials are more beginner-friendly, and forums are more welcoming. There are countless videos, guides, and resources that walk you through every step, from installation to advanced customization. This makes it easier than ever to learn at your own pace. Another major factor is the design philosophy behind modern Linux systems. Developers are paying more attention to user experience. They are focusing on consistency, simplicity, and aesthetics. This means that everything from icons to animations is carefully designed to create a pleasant experience. It's no longer just about functionality, it's about making the system enjoyable to use. Customization, which has always been a strong point of Linux, is still there, but it's no longer overwhelming. Beginners can start with a simple setup and gradually explore more advanced options if they choose to. You can change themes, layouts, and behaviors without needing deep technical knowledge. And if you don't want to customize anything, you don't have to. The default experience is good enough for most users. Gaming, which used to be a weak point for Linux, has also seen incredible progress. With advancements in compatibility layers and support from major platforms, many games now run smoothly on Linux. This removes another barrier for users who were hesitant to switch because of gaming limitations. While it may not replace every gaming setup, it's more capable than ever before. Privacy and control are also becoming more important to users, and this is where Linux truly shines. Unlike some other operating systems, Linux gives you full control over your system. There's no forced telemetry, no hidden tracking, and no unwanted background processes. This transparency is appealing to users who care about their data and want to know exactly what their system is doing. All these changes together create an environment where Linux is no longer just an alternative. It's a viable primary operating system for everyday users. You can browse the web, watch videos, edit documents, manage files, and do almost everything you would do on any other system. And you can do it without feeling lost or overwhelmed. What makes this moment special is that we're not just seeing incremental improvements, we're witnessing a tipping point. Linux is becoming approachable, friendly, and practical for a wider audience. It's no longer something you try out of curiosity and abandon after a few days. It's something you can actually stick with and rely on. For beginners, this means you don't have to wait for the right time to try Linux. That time is now. Tools are ready, the experience is polished, and the support is there. You can start with a simple installation, explore at your own pace, and gradually discover what makes Linux unique. At the same time, this transformation doesn't take away what longtime users love about Linux. The power, flexibility, and freedom are still there. Advanced users can still dive into the terminal, customize every aspect of their system, and push the limits of what's possible. The difference is that now, beginners don't have to start there. This balance between simplicity and power is what makes this change so important. It bridges the gap between two worlds and creates a system that can grow with you. You can start as a complete beginner and gradually become more advanced without needing to switch to a different platform. As more people discover this new side of Linux, the ecosystem will continue to grow. More developers will create applications, more companies will provide support, and more users will contribute to the community. This creates a positive cycle that drives further improvements and innovation. So when we say this changes Linux forever, it's not an exaggeration. It's a recognition of how far things have come and how much potential lies ahead. Linux is no longer just for a niche group of users. It's becoming a mainstream option that anyone can use. And for you, as someone watching this, it means you have an opportunity to be part of this change. You can explore a system that respects your freedom, protects your privacy, and gives you control over your computing experience. You don't need to be an expert. You just need curiosity and a willingness to try something new. Because at the end of the day, technology should work for you, not the other way around. And with these changes, Linux is finally delivering on that promise in a way that beginners can truly appreciate.